Okay, so saan na ba tayo? So let's move on naman to ayan. Types of tests. Okay? Ano-ano ba yung mga iba't ibang kuan comparison tests, no? Let's move on. For those studies who aim to compare variables or compare performances of individuals or groups, mga ganon. So here is a table showing some of the most commonly used comparison tests, both parametric and non-parametric. So let's walk through each row and break down what kind of data you need and which test fits best. No? The table or the picture, the presentation may not be as clear as a crystal, as crystal clear. Pero I believe you have a copy of this in your sim, so please do refer to your sim if the copy in this presentation is not that clear as it appears to you. Okay, so go moving on. When comparing averages of two independent groups, we might be asking what would be the appropriate test for that. Okay, so una again, it all boils down to what data, no, um is generated, or what data were you able to gather in your study. So say you want to compare group A and group B, and the people in each group are different. So that falls under this category, no, averages, comparing the averages of two independent groups. So when we say independent groups, so the people in each group are different, and you want to compare the people in each of those groups. Okay, so halimbawa, do male and female students differ in exam scores? So your dependent variable is exam scores. So this is a scale data since it's numerical. Independent or explanatory variable natin is what? The gender. Okay? Explanatory is the gender. So in this case, it's nominal, no? And it's binary because there are just two groups. Okay? Just two groups. So, if we have this kind of situation in a study, or if we have this kind of study, then what we are going to use, no, if the data is normally distributed, then we use parametric test, right? So that the parametric test to be used would be the independent t-test. Okay, why independent t-test? Again, because we have two independent groups. Okay? Now, um, halimbawa kung ang data naman is ordinal or skewed yung data, meaning the data is not normally distributed, there are a lot of outliers, then we use the non-parametric test, Mann-Whitney test or Wilcoxon rank sum. Okay? Now, um, if we are to compare naman the averages of three or more independent groups, okay, again, now what we are comparing here is three or more separate groups naman. Okay, um, the dependent or outcome variable is scale, independent or explanatory variable is nominal. So the parametric test to be used is one way or ANOVA, and the non-parametric test to be used is Kruskal-Wallis test. Okay? When comparing the average differences between paired or matched samples, scale yung dependent variable, okay? And independent variable halimbawa is Of course, since we are, it would still be a scaled data, but now we have two related measurements from the same person. So there is a time or condition variable element there, no? So what we're going to do, or the test that we are going um, to use if the data is normally distributed, is the paired t-test. No, this is a parametric test. If the data is skewed or the data is ordinal, then we use the non-parametric test, Wilcoxon signed rank test. Now, if we are to compare three or more repeated, okay, measurements on the same subject, okay, so that would be the parametric test to be used is the repeated measures ANOVA, and the non-parametric test to be used is the Friedman test. Okay. Now let's proceed naman to the tests of association. Okay. If we are to look for relationship between two continuous variables, no, and if the the dependent, okay, the dependent or outcome variable comes with a scale data. So, and your independent variable also comes with a scale data. So what we're going to use, if the data is normally distributed, is the Pearson's correlation coefficient. If it's not normally distributed, the data is not normally distributed, then it would be the Spearman's correlation coefficient, a non-parametric test. Now, if we are to predict naman the value of one variable from the value of a predictor variable, or looking for significant relationships, okay, and your dependent variable comes with a scale data, regardless kung ano yung data, type of data ng yung independent variable, then we use simple linear regression for for a data that is normally distributed. Rather, we use simple linear regression if the data is normally distributed, or um, if we come to realize that the data fits to use the parametric test. But if the data does not meet, no, the requirements in using the parametric test, then there is a need to transform the data. Okay, and in transforming the data, we need to use kuan, some ways in order to transform the data into something that would result that the data will now be normally distributed, just like that, no? So it's actually a higher version of statistical analysis. Now, if we are to predict again the value of one variable from the value of a predictor variable, but this time the dependent variable comes with comes with a nominal or binary data, regardless kung ano yung independent variable, then we use logistic regression. Okay. Now, in assessing the relationship between two categorical variables naman, of course, since two categorical nga, so of course the both the dependent and the independent variables are comes with categorical data. So what we're going to use is automatically the chi-squared test, no? And there's no parametric test equivalent for that. So it's automatically a non-parametric test. So we use the chi-squared test. So let's proceed naman, asa na to? Let's proceed naman to um ayan. If we have one scale dependent and several independent scales, what are we going to use? Um, Una-una, if we have the first independent variable, so again we are talking about one scale dependent, ha. We kumaga our study involves one scale dependent variable, and this time marami yung independent variables. So in this case, if your first independent variable comes with a scale nga data, and your second independent comes with a scale data or binary, so the test that we're going to use is the multiple regression. Now, kung nominal naman yung first independent variable ninyo, and nominal din yung second independent variable, then we use two-way ANOVA. If the first independent variable is nominal, such as in repeated measures, and nominal din sa second independent variable, repeated measures again, then we use two-way repeated measures ANOVA. Now, for a study that involves an independent variable, for the first independent variable, we have nominal for the independent group, and nominal naman for the second independent group. But this time, repeated measures, we use mixed ANOVA. For a study that involves one scale dependent again, and the first independent variable is comes with a nominal data, but the second independent variable comes with a scale data, then we use the test ANCOVA. Okay, so yeah.